April 15th, tax day outside of Florida, track committee meeting. And thank you for participating in the Zoom today. First, the rules. PSTA has developed several methods for ensuring that the ability of the public to comment prior to and during virtual meetings. And it's established these options. During the meeting, the public can provide public comment via telephone by calling 1-305-224-1968. The meeting ID is 894-4538-1853. Individuals will be able to speak for 3 minutes during the public comment period. Again, make a public comment today during the meeting. Members of the public should call 1-305-224-1968 and use the meeting ID 810-4940-8546. The second option allowed for the public to submit written comments prior to the meeting by mail to PSTA. I don't know if we've received anything. And then
No comments.
Comments, okay, and not email either?
No.
Okay, yeah, because the third option is email.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, now for the record, I'd like to confirm that you all can speak and see each other, so that we will do first the roll call. First, Jay James. I know I saw.
I am present.
There you go. Thank you. Elizabeth. Elizabeth?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Kim Rankin? Again, I saw Kim. Kim, are you?
She's muted. She was answering, but she's muted.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Teresa Dunphy?
I'm here.
Okay, Sebastian Zamardo? Is Sebastian on? No,
I don't see him.
I don't see him either, okay. Maxwell Johnson?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, there's it. Oh, okay. Mark Boyce?
Here.
Thank you. Ray? Okay. Richard Powell? Okay, Richard McDaniel?
Hello.
Thank you. And Conrad Langenheim? Conrad either. And then Roman Sherbalko.
Here.
Thank you. Are there any other members attending whose names I did not? All right, and as a reminder, please remember to respond to the track quorum memo email that you get within 48 hours of that email. Okay, so. Okay, good afternoon, track members and panelists. In the interest of time, I will briefly mention the topics covered in the March 2025 PSTA board meeting. The board did approve the connection bus network that we've seen, the recommendations from staff, and consultants and staff are now working on the tough job of implementing system-wide service adjustment. It's tentatively scheduled for October of this year. Also, I think we've mentioned this before, but after having been appointed chair, the former board member, Dan Saraki, lost his mayoral election in Oldsmar and is no longer on the board. His replacement is the city's new mayor, Katie Gannon, and the new board chair will be selected this month. And the vice chair is currently operating as the chair. This past Friday, the board apparently held a workshop to develop its 2025 priorities. And in a presentation to the members, there were impressive highlights as to how PSTA continues to outpace its peers when it comes to the number of riders and dollars invested, as well as having one of the lowest hourly operating costs in the country. Those are things that we, of course, have heard before and believe very strongly. So the more that the board knows that, the better. Okay, our next on the agenda is the Forward Pinellas report from Elizabeth Olden. Elizabeth?
Okay, yes, I have a big fat memo, and it is aptly named Citizens Advisory Committee Orientation and Reference Manual. Ooh, all kinds of information. We're not gonna go through all that, a lot of abbreviations, and it's more of a housekeeping. It's teaching us again what we've seen before, and also educating new people that have just joined. But I want to read the last paragraph, and they call it a unified vision. The defining role of Forward Pinellas is bringing land use and transportation planning efforts together in an integrated whole, from our long-range vision to the regulatory, funding, and technical activities that implement it. Our goal is to develop a better regional, countywide, and local transportation choices that attract jobs, give people the opportunity to fulfill their goals, and strengthen our existing communities. And it's helping me get my head around what Forward Pinellas actually does. And there's so many moving pieces. So that tries to give you a picture of what they're doing. And then to break down the big picture just a little bit, Transportation Improvement Program, they call it TIP. The Transportation Improvement Program is a collection of transportation-related work programs in Pinellas County. While the Long Range Transportation Plan, LRTP, is the primary long-term planning document for Pinellas, and we call that LRTP, Long Range Transportation Plan. The Transportation Improvement Program, TIP, is the primary short-term planning document, kind of inside that longer one that's 20 years out. This one is the current and the next 4 years. So it's a smaller planning vehicle inside the longer 20 years out. And that's really hard to get your head wrapped around. But I'm trying to put it out there so you guys can kind of let that gel. Okay, that's what I got for today.
Oh, very, very good, thank you. Yeah, there are a whole lot of moving pieces, I think that's exactly right, but I think we're part of the moving pieces, you know what I mean? And that's why it's so good that now that we do have a seat at the table at the Citizens Advisory Committee for Forward Pinellas, because transit is and needs to continue to be an important part of the whole transportation and land use planning in the county. So,
Yeah.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That's helpful. Okay, now on our agenda today, we have only information items, and the very first one, kind of an A-B, is about our initiatives. And Bob Lasher is going to talk with us about the cleanup initiative and then also the updates on the ride-along initiative.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Peter Ray and Richard Powell have been doing yeoman's duty trying to get us into partnerships with some of the other groups like Keep Pinellas Beautiful. And I personally was stunned at the requirements these agencies, the demands they would put on us to participate. Richard, would you be comfortable talking a little bit about some of the stuff that they were wanting us to do just to help with the cleanup?
Well, what they have is adopt a location program. And it calls for a 2-year commitment at 4 times a year. And also you need to weigh it. And they'll work with you to give you the data you need and where to record it. I know we've talked about two places, Grand Central and the beach. And one that Peter worked on and offered for us to, I think on our own initiative, join a group that is cleaning up the Pinellas Trail. But since then, what also developed, I kind of stood back and watched how it worked, was a dozen different organizations joined last weekend down at Tradewinds, and they did the beach tunnel. And one of those was Pinellas County. So there's a gap there somewhere. There has to be somebody at Pinellas County that knows how to facilitate this for us, that we would be involved. I think the idea of working on the trail is great. Everybody will get out there and pick up stuff. But I saw this as an opportunity to elevate bus transit. It's the what we have emailed back and forth. The hard part, there's a stigma to ride the bus. It's for people who have no other option. They can't afford it. So I don't want to be associated with those people. Well, I think really a dirty terminal, restrooms, litter, add to that narrative. And I thought it was very important to, the optics should show that not only does the PSTA take it seriously, they, what their stations look like, but the Citizen Advisory will do. So I'd still like to support, we just do one Grand Central for a term of 2 years, and you do it 4 times a year and see how that will work. If it didn't work, I don't think they're going to come and arrest us for knowledge on the vine. But I was hoping that there's somebody who did Keep America Beautiful, I think, was the sponsor of the Great American Cleanup. That's what it was. Had the Chick-fil-A, they had Pinellas County, they had work. Who is that person? Who is that pivot person that coordinates that? It wasn't the PSTA, it was Pinellas County. So we can discuss it, and what do you all think about it? Should we go forward into it?
One of the things I think they mentioned was they also, didn't they want whoever was going to be part of the cleanup to come in for several training sessions? That was the one that threw me, because I didn't see, it's to me, that seemed a little onerous for the track.
Okay, I can see, what I read into that is what I experienced, and not as a facilitator, but as a volunteer, is that you set up a table and you sign people in, and people just don't go out there and bring you your trash. You have to have a tailboard session, so to speak, that before you put people out on the street, safety and what to do and how important it is to bring it back and measure it. I thought more of an orientation for the volunteers the day of the trash pickup.
Okay.
Okay, I may be wrong. Like I said, I've never put one together before, but I think that's all there is to it.
And was it you or Peter that also looked into Tampa Bay Watch? I think that might have been.
Yeah, Tampa Bay Watch, the head of the marine debris collection thing, she gave me a few names of people that maybe I could talk to directly to keep Pinellas beautiful. If you want me to pursue that, I can give them a call. See, Tampa Bay Watch is just another nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stage their own cleanups, they participate. They participate with, like Keep Pinellas Beautiful, where they participate, whoever a larger sponsor is. And I thought we would be just doing the same thing, to be honest with you.
why don't we take a survey of the members? You want them to, oh, Peter, you've got your hand up, go ahead.
I mean, I've been doing this a couple of years with the St. Pete Bike Club, and that's why we do the trail. And in retrospect, we did go through Keep Pinellas Beautiful. It's not a requirement, and this is not complicated work. We can make it pretty simple. And really the offer to even help us on the trail was do it one time, kind of just to see how we do it. If somebody wanted to, it doesn't have to be a formal attendance. It's really pretty simple. And we don't necessarily need the blessings of anybody. I think we all, some of the work is just obvious, and we also tend to just measure the weight ourselves and report it by email or by phone. So my suggestion is don't get too hung up on working through another organization to do this. I think everybody, connected with PSTA, it's hardworking, they know how to, operate. And separately, my only concern would be, I've seen at a number of PSTA stops, a crew from PSTA cleaning the stops. And I don't want to take somebody's job or impose where there's already work that's being done. So I would hope that we could somehow navigate working with the existing staff and people that might be assigned to that area to help them out or do a special day. One thing I shared with Bob was that once you do it, if you do the same location, the first time is always the hardest because that's usually where you get the most stuff. And then if you stay on top of it, like we do our location every 2 months. And after the first couple months, it was easy, relatively easy, 1 hour max. And then we usually go out and have a Coke or beverage afterwards and just have a little bit of downtime before everybody takes off. And then we usually put the word out to how much we collected, any other comments that people made. We also made a sign, a couple of actual signboards out there so people knew who we were, just to identify that this is, we're connected with or in this case would be PSTA, we're part of the track committee, for example, and that's relatively easy. The other thing that we might do is, at least in the short run, we can probably borrow the equipment we've accumulated from the bike club. We have a whole thing of trash grabbers, the hand squeeze things. We have gloves. We have trash bags. We have some other markers and things out there. So but we have the equipment already in hand. So again, if we want to start off borrowing equipment, we could do that and add it in. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yeah. Mark Boyce, I see you have a hand.
Yes, sir. I commented about a stop up on US 19 in Palm Harbor back a couple of months ago because it had no trash can at all. And I picked up, I don't know the number now, 26 beverage cans, and that happened to be the day I cut myself on one of the cans. It had been charred by a lawnmower, but I just wanted to register my opinion with all the respect. I don't want to make members feel uneasy, or certainly the PSTA employees, but my statement was very clear, and I'll just reaffirm it. This is not a reasonable adventure, I'll call it, for a track committee. I understand PR, so if we want to, make a splash and invite the media, act like we really care about cleanliness, we could, do one of those kind of an event, and the whole idea would be PR. That makes sense. But to take over what should be done professionally, these folks that we pay to drive around to the stops, I don't know who chose to put trash cans at some stops and none at others. To me, it looks regional. You go to St. Pete and look at the Anointed route, and it's very clean, and they have professionals that are taking care of it. And the stations, a lot of members agreed with me, clean the restrooms, and I know they are, but this concept of cleaning up commercial sites is not for us. And the reason they have training and whatnot is there's all kind of legal problems. There's syringes, there's sharp objects, we don't have the ability to weigh things, and it's totally ridiculous. But I don't know who makes the decisions to put trash cans at stops, but a major stop on the northeast corner of US 19 and Tampa Road should have a trash can, and it should have a professional coming by to pick it up. And that's my opinion, and we're going on and just talking about how to go pick up trash. Picking up trash is wonderful. If we adopt someplace, let's be real about it. Let's all get involved. Well, not everyone, but anyone who can, wants to. And let's adopt someplace and make PSTA proud of the job. But that's just a small little place that we would pick. We are no match for the county trash pickup, and that's a professional job. I just had the trashman come pick up my 3 cans in Pinellas Park. These are professionals, man. These guys know how to lift. They know where to put the stuff. They know, and for us to go out and just do this walking up and down highways is dangerous for people who don't know what they're doing, for traffic reasons, for getting cut, for getting stabbed with a needle, there's so many things that could go wrong. So, I just feel very strongly about this. We need trash cans at the major stops. And Tampa Road and US 19 seems like a reasonable place to start, unless we're trying to punish Palm Harbor for not being on board, or I don't know all the politics of it, but it's ridiculous. There's no way.
Mark, hey, just give me, there was a can at that stop, and recently the agency has been paring back the cans at stops around the county because we just don't have the money to operate as waste disposal. So based on the overall ridership of that particular stop, that's why the can was pulled, and that comes right from our director of maintenance. Maxwell Johnson, you had your hand up?
May I just comment on that concept? So why don't we have the director to come in and tell us what's actionable, what's reasonable, rather than just banter on and on about teaming up with other organizations to possibly volunteer and weigh the stuff. And it's heavy. It's not for us, trust me. But let's have this show. If we're going to be serious about cleaning up the trash, let's have this gentleman come in and give us the criteria. And then if a place like Tampa Road is not a heavy ridership place, well, we can pick up the slack if it's a real problem. But our committee's not going to drive to Palm Harbor to pick it up. So again, it sounds like from PSTA we're just saying, hey, let's forget it. But let's, if we can, do a photo op for whatever, but we're not serious about picking up this trash. We just canceled the can on a major highway, at a major intersection. So it just seems, it's, I don't know, to me it seems crazy. Thanks.
Maxwell?
Yes, now maybe this is just coming out of left field, maybe I'm just nuts, but it occurs to me, why do we need volunteers? Shouldn't trash pickup be the logical community service sentence for someone who litters? Like, littering is still a crime, right? So punishment fits the crime. You litter, never mind a fee, never mind jail time. You do have to do X number of hours of community service, picking up other people's litter. So next time, you won't add to the problem.
All right,
Does that make
Jay,
sense?
Jay, you have your hand up?
Yes, I think Richard was before me, but I can go. I was just thinking about I'm sorry, we got distracted by the few minutes of conversation we just had. I just want to say we voted on this. We're the ones who chose this. Nobody is coming down directing us to do this. We had an entire meeting about what do we want to have to be, our project this year. And this was one of the several different options, and we voted on it. And this is one of the ones we chose. So this is not a directive from the leadership at PSTA. I just want to say that. And also, we had conversations about the budget last year before the budget cuts. That PSA, one of the options that was going to try to avoid route sheet cuts was reducing the trash pickup that PSA pays for, and hopefully, getting cahoots with the municipalities and local government areas to pick up that slack on picking up the trash at the areas that we can support. We had a whole meeting about what are we willing to cut last year. About, and this was one of the subjects. So if this is normal, a reduction in the amount of trash being picked up should not be a surprise because we had conversations about this. PSCA, as well as many other transit agencies across this country, is facing financial difficulties and refunding from the federal government due to COVID and related costs. So it's like, these are the things we had conversations on, and I honestly would love to not belabor the point on this. We discussed these at the previous meetings. In fact, there was more than one, and we voted on these. So that's why they're being discussed right now. I will say I agree that if it's too much of a hassle to team up with other organizations on, cleanups, I like the suggestion of, talking with the director of maintenance, like, what areas, would be a good spots for us to do a few cleanups a year. There's no way on this earth that would be able to pick up the slack behind the trash pickup we have to cut. Because, we're all volunteers, clearly, so this is not a job for us. This is just a project we decided to do as a committee. But I would love to have that conversation with the director of maintenance on like what areas they believe would be a good spot for us to choose. And and perhaps we don't team up with the other organizations. It seems to be an honest thing. But, those are my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Jay. Richard?
Richard? Yeah.
So, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jay. I think both of you are totally on point. Mark, it is a photo op. And really, there's no intention to replace or even supplement on a regular basis the county's responsibility or the PSTA's responsibility to keep these places clean. And Mark, you're right, there are hazards involved, and there is liability involved. That's why there is a process. That's why we just say, hey guys, let's meet and start picking stuff up. And that's what the quote unquote in-service or the training is about, to understand the importance of that. And Jay, you're right, perhaps just working in our own way with the county or whoever is responsible. That's another way of doing it. I am tickled to death because I'm halfway home. We have elevated this problem into a really good discussion. And we have brought it to the board and it's been talked about. And yeah, this is a big problem to me. That if we don't look good and people don't know out there how important other ordinary people like ourselves feel about this, it's going to be detrimental to the PSTA. So it's an opportunity, but at the same time, I'm encouraged that we're even talking about this and realize what a problem it is. I don't see, as Mark, the hurdles that you refer to as overwhelming. You know, I've been involved in, I've volunteered for too many cleanups, and they're well run, and they work occasionally. Almost if every cleanup I've ever been on really is somebody else's responsibility. DOT and the Skyway Causeway is probably the worst place in all of Pinellas County. And trash cans, there is I don't know what the reason why that trash can was removed, but there is some truth to nothing attracts trash like trash cans. That some of the cleanest parks I've been to across the country have no trash cans. It's just you whatever you bring out, bring in, you need to bring out. Then who empties the trash can? And I know the problems is DOT turn a blind eye to, and until people start raising their voices and bring attention to it, they work on it. So yeah, I think everybody has a good point. So, you know, let's see, what can we do? Thank you.
I think Mark has another comment. Mark, do you have another?
Yes, yep, I just, I disagree with Jay on this one. It's rare, I usually am with Jay, but, thank you, Richard. And, I'm sorry, I get wound up. I got cut that day and I was trying to help and, I realized it was a big problem. And, I still think, this photo ops are great and I'm all for a PR event. But I think maybe what we should be doing is coordinating with the leaders of the county or the city then. Not thinking we're gonna make even a small dent in this, but if we wanna adopt a highway somewhere or adopt a bus station and that's TRAC's responsibility, I'll be a part of it, okay?
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I think this was a good conversation. I don't mean to take your steam, Bob, but I think it's good that we're talking about it, and it led me to think, well, I mean, maybe there's an opportunity for us to even create a master list of who's responsible for the trash pickup in different areas, like, you know, the conversation about who's responsible for what happens in Palm Harbor, you know, and who's responsible at Grand Central. You know, like even a phone number, we can post something with phone numbers. I don't know. All ideas, good ideas. All right, Bob, do you want to continue with the?
Yeah, I think at this point, looking at the time, and we still have some things to get to, I do want to move on. I'm gonna share my screen. Just a quick update on the other initiative of the board ride-alongs. We still have two members, board members who need someone to take them on a ride. Conrad's not here today, excuse me, but he wants one. So take a look, Commissioner of Largo, Commissioner of Dunedin, let me know, email me. I will sign you up for this person because we want people to start setting these rides up sooner than later. And I'm hoping by the end of the week, I'll be sending out some guidelines and instructions on how to go about doing this. We want you to keep us involved. Let us know the dates, times, locations well beforehand, because you may get some company from staff as well, if we can. And having said that, Gloria, we'll go ahead and move on to the other parts of the meeting.
Okay, well, the only other item that we have then is I think we're going to take this to Amanda Baird, who is our outstanding Director of Marketing, who's going to be using our meeting as a focus group regarding the services for us as users.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you. I'm Amanda Baird, the Director of Communications and Marketing. And would love to talk to you a little bit today about some items related to passenger experience at our stops and kind of get your opinions. So if we could have the next slide, please. I just kind of wanted to open up with a little bit of a state of affairs on our passenger information. As you all are very well aware, we passed our connected community bus network last month. And because there are going to be numerous route changes, stop changes, this really does give us an ideal opportunity to take a look at what's at those stops, and what information is going to be helpful for both our regular riders, such as yourselves, as well as potential new riders. That's going to come in a couple of different waves. We also have taken a look at when these items were last updated. Our regular bus stop signs, those blue ones at the top, were last updated in 2010. And then later, a little bit after that, we added that real-time bus information sign that's kind of at the mid-level of the post. Our system map design was updated in 2022. Went from, it was very brown before, and now it's this much cleaner blue, but we do have an opportunity to make updates here again. And then the most pressing item that I would love to focus most of our discussion on today are the passenger information boards, which on the next slide we'll talk about a little bit more. So next slide. I'd also love to talk a little bit about some trends we've seen in trip planning. We've been doing a lot of competitive research and looking at the ways folks are planning their trips, getting information about PSTA. So as what we've learned is that as of 2024, so just last year, about 90% of Americans own smartphones, and that number holds pretty true. Prevalence is very high of smartphones, regardless of age, income, and other demographics. In addition to 90% of Americans owning smartphones, about 98% of Americans own a cell phone of some sort with texting and phone call capability. So pretty much everyone, regardless of age, income, race, geographic location, has a phone in their pocket. Here locally at PSTA, we have seen consistent year-over-year increases in our transit app utilization, which is really great. Just last month in March, we had over 22,000 monthly unique users of transit app, which is up 12% from last March. And traffic to our website, about 71.5% of all the traffic has been either on mobile or tablet, most of that being mobile phones. So some device that is being held in your hand, and our most frequently visited pages are our trip schedules, our route schedules. We've also done some competitive research to see what our folks are posting at their bus shelters. So on the next slide, I would love to talk to you specifically about these departure boards today. What we've learned through our competitive research is a lot of systems nationally are moving away from posting timetables at bus shelters. What we've found and what we've learned is that full timetable can be extremely daunting for first-time riders. It's very time and labor and cost intensive to keep these up to date. Just here at PSTA, we have 3 service changes every year. During COVID, that was even more frequent. And that information board in the red box, every single one of those costs PSTA $15 every time we have to print one. And there are over 500 of those in the county. So if we're updating those 3 times a year, that cost gets pretty high. The larger ones that you see at terminals, those ones are about $30. So there's some significant budget dollars and labor hours of the graphic design team developing these and the facilities team going out and deploying these. And because of the size of that timetable, there's not much room for any other information relevant to fare payments, trip planning, service alerts if we've got them, how to download the app, how to use Direct Connect, items like that that might be useful for somebody who's standing at that stop waiting for the bus. So for our discussion today, on the next slide, I've put together a little bit of an a la carte, or just, I want you to picture, if we have a blank slate in that box, what is going to be most useful that is not that timetable? So this is where I would like your help filling in, is this box. So we've kind of put together some ideas on the next slide of things that we've seen other systems implementing. So rather than a timetable, we might have a frequency chart that shows, hey, on weekdays, this bus runs every 15 minutes during these hours. On Saturdays, it runs every 30 minutes. And on Sundays and holidays, it runs every 60. We might have our stick map. We might have QR codes and instructions for how to get real-time information. Or we might have more advertising about Flamingo Fares or our fare table. We might have information about some of our other programs that might be useful to folks who are standing at that station. Direct Connect, TD, PSTA Access. We might have points of interest that are served by that route. So at this point, I'm going to stop talking and let you guys talk and tell me what you would want to see in that blank slate space in place of a timetable.
Do you want me to call on the people with their hands up, or do you want to go ahead and just control that?
Either way, whatever you prefer.
Go ahead and you choose when you see a hand up, go ahead and take the call.
Okay, absolutely. So Mark, your hand shot straight up.
Thanks. I just happened, there's only one other thing I care very deeply about to bring to the attention. It's a repeat thing, but I was trying to catch the 62 on Belcher to head north. It's a long story, but anyhow, I was at the corner of Ulmerton and Belcher, and I went to the stop and had my bike with me, and I don't know why, but people like to take off the stop numbers, they either peel them off or whatever, or deface them. Usually they're just missing. And lo and behold, so then I just punched it into Google, and I had my back turned to where it said the bus wasn't coming for 50 minutes, like another hour, almost an hour. And I just happened to look up, and there's the bus. And so Google was wrong. I couldn't get the information because with the normal stop number. And he let me on while he was parked at the light. It wasn't even the stop. He just was, I hope I'm not getting anybody in trouble, but they don't check up on the driver anyhow. So I guess he'll be all right. But he was nice and let me on. But I would have, in that case, it was just luck. Because, if you miss a bus that's an hour, it makes it wait another hour, it's a big deal. So, especially if you have to take 2 or 3 buses in a day. So, something we asked before, if we could get the stop numbers put back on, and I thought I think they did actually repair some on Ulmerton Road, but I've been running into that a lot lately. So I think that's important. And I do think some type of information, like that one option that shows this stop is once an hour, it doesn't run on Sundays, just a summary like that is probably sufficient. We want to save you as much money as we can, but we really do need a stop number, I think, because Google is not always accurate and a lot of people might not even know how to use Google. So, okay. Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. Yes, that is, we're also looking at the bus stop signs themselves. And I do want to update everybody that it is my intention, as we are looking at those bus stop signs, to put the stop number up on that upper sign that's mounted 7 feet in the air. So it would take a lot more determination to vandalize. So that's one of my goals. And if we can figure out a way to put it in the display case as well, I think that having it in multiple places certainly can't hurt. Jay, I think I saw your hand come up next.
Yes, I was literally going to say like having the stop number, and the routes in the display cases would be one way to help with that as well. I like the QR code thing, but I don't know. I'm a little wary on QR codes because of the issues that are going on with, people putting up fake QR codes on top of existing QR codes. But if this is behind glass or it's not actual glass, but whatever material that is, then it shouldn't be an issue. I think I like a combination of all of these things. I like the frequency chart. Like when I've gone to other cities, this is what they've had. I like the frequency chart. I think a combination of this stuff is dope. And I really would love to have the information around the other programs that we have. Because the reason I found out about this because I just one day went up to the bus, to Central, what is it called now? Grand Central Station, asked about programs. But like if you I like those ideas.
Scary.
I saw Richard your hand was up. Do you still want to comment?
Oh, I was just going to comment that, I think most young people use the transit app. They're gonna use it more before they use the PSTA. So I think that's, a pretty important, I like that you have it first. I don't know anybody besides myself that uses the PSTA app. So,
Okay, I've got Teresa and Gloria. I'm sorry, I did not see whose hand went up first.
Go ahead, Teresa, you can comment. Oh, where did Teresa go? We lost Teresa. I'll go ahead, till we get Teresa back on. My question is, I know on a personal level, some of the major stops, like I know the one on the north side of Countryside Mall, for example, we always used to have the electric signs that gave the information. And yeah, I use the transit app as well, but I like confirming things, and sometimes I don't want to have to pull my phone out to look. And so as you're talking about, all the different items that can be on those signs, obviously not on most signs, but on the major stops, what's the opportunity to continue to have things electronic so that they can have multiple messages?
Yeah, so those electronic signs is not part of what I'm currently putting on the table. So the ones that are still out there, I know our facilities team is maintaining those. And I know that as part of the upcoming Spark service, we are planning to add some real-time information signs at those stops. So that electric signage for confirmation, electronic signage where it's feasible to do so, absolutely, we'll continue to have. But yeah, for the printed information, it's that's kind of the workshop today, what I'm able to control in marketing.
Thank you.
Teresa, did you figure out your?
Hi, am I back?
Yes, hi. Yes, you're back.
Well, I was just gonna say the transit app rule green one seems to be the most accurate when I'm using it, going around, and I've taught a lot of people, local people as much as tourists about, they say, well, oh, I downloaded that, but I didn't know how to use it. And I'm showing them just a few little tricks because like a lot of people don't know if you slide it the other way, it tells you a different direction, just lots of little things. But that's my favorite is the transit when I'm traveling.
Absolutely.
I'll do the text real time. That's all.
Yeah, it would definitely be my intention to have kind of all four options because some people prefer to call, some people prefer the texts, some people like transit, some people like the website. So definitely that for that where's my bus section, giving everyone is the four options for sure. Jay, what else do you got for me?
I wanted to lift up a comment I saw in the chat. The fair information would definitely be something beneficial. And especially, if I remember correctly, that we implemented a fare capping thing, so information about that too. So people will know that, you know, they don't necessarily have to buy the day pass, they only call, they can use their own, the same card, but their own business bank card to do the fare capping. Like something related to that perhaps. Yeah. And I'll see how on here it has the Where's My Bus and then see the sign for your stop number. I know we'll be having the printing be standardized, but like we can use the same stickers we use on the bus poles on these things on there. So like you say bus number here and they just have the sticker there. Instead of just telling them to see the other thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so we can print like one per
Yeah.
route and then, add the UID,
Exactly. I will say though, the website that we have there is not the website, it's the main website, but it's not the website to see your real-time information. That is the right, it's
I guess I have a little update on that front. That is currently, you might recall a few months ago I came and spoke to y'all about the website update. Our new website will be rolling out this winter.
Okay.
And everything is gonna be in one place.
Okay.
So that is,
Okay.
I guess my little sneak preview just for you as track is that yes, we will be moving everything over to PSTA.net. So you won't have to have that ride PSTA and PSTA.net. So it'll all be in one place. Very convenient for you.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, hopes, dreams for what would be in that information case? Sky's the limit here. Jay, what you got?
I just had thought, how Teresa was talking about how she helps people, with the transit app. I don't know if this is necessarily related directly to the sign, but maybe it could be, like, on our website, how, directions on how, like, if you swipe this way, you can see this, swipe this way, you know, that information, that would be, good information as well. Because, you know, not everything is as intuitive, the design, especially if, you know, you're not the most, you know, up to date on how app design works nowadays. Because, you know, if you don't know what app design has completely changed over the past 10, 15 years, and then, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it would make sense to have some like printed information saying, check out this page so that when Transit app updates something, we can just update it on the website. We don't have to reprint everything.
Exactly.
Very cool. Brad, my favorite transit rider. Not just joking, teasing. You're all my favorite. Oh, you lose Brad? You're muted. Yes, I can hear you.
And thank you to everybody for providing feedback. That's what I was hoping we would get. I just was noticing that nobody has mentioned anything about this stick map, and I myself as a writer am just wondering how much value that provides for someone who uses the transit app. If people go to the transit app, I don't know that I ever even use the stick map, but just wanted your thoughts on that. How do you get that? Something.
Yeah, that'd be good to know. Are those stick maps useful to you? Gloria.
I like the stick maps. It really helps me, especially if I'm riding a route that I don't always ride. I sometimes take different routes, and that's very helpful for me. So.
What makes you, Jay?
You know, I agree. I like the stick maps. The thing with the transit app is that when it shows you the routes, it doesn't, one, you have to really know how to zoom and stuff to see the entire route on the transit app, and it doesn't show you the points of interest necessarily. So I do like the stick maps for that. part of it.
Thank you. Peter, what you got?
I just want to agree with Gloria. For routes that I don't totally have memorized, I like to have that option to just remind me of, where it's going and if there have been any changes or anything like that. It's helpful. And I guess one question is how much we're trying to get kind of maybe, either tourists or people that don't regularly use it. I think that almost that's essential to have there, but that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Richard, what you got?
Yeah, I may have it wrong or I'm missing something, but the transit app I found more useful, let's say, on Gulf Boulevard down in Clearwater Beach, where you have multiple bus routes operating at the same time from stations that are not that far apart. It can be quite confusing. Transit app helped me sort that out, as opposed to going real time looking at which route I want to go on the PSTA route. Maybe I'm missing something there, but I think Mark is right. People who don't know what PSTA stands for, but they're familiar with the transit apps. They've used it all over the country. Thank you.
Mark, what you got?
I apologize, I didn't know what Brad was referring to. With the stick map, specifically, what are we talking about there?
Just if having that stick map in that information case next to that overall system map is useful.
I don't think you can see the screen. So they're talking about, you know how on the bus schedules, you have the map on the bus schedules?
Does that
that's called
It's
stick
like
map.
an open brochure
Yeah.
inside the glass, you mean?
Yeah,
And that's a stick map?
yeah.
Okay. And Brad's saying, do people look at I guess I've tried to look at the map, show where it goes, but it's so small and hard to read, even though I know Pinellas County better than most. I don't think that's very effective, actually. Is that what he meant?
I think you're talking about the ones at the bus stops. You know, we have the big maps at some of the bus stops. That's the ones he's talking
Yeah,
about.
inside, let's say it's one that's enclosed or whatever,
Yeah.
and you go in there and it tells you hour by hour. I look at them, but I don't need it per se. It's just nice to have, but if we need to save money, I guess it's not.
No, well,
I'd rather have a trash can.
so as Amanda showed on, I think the previous slide, if Bob, I think it's the previous slide.
Yeah.
At the major bus stops where we have shelter, there will be the huge county map, as you can see, well, maybe Mike, you can't see it, but you can see on the right-hand side, there'll be the big county map. It'll be like, you are here, and it'll show all the routes.
Yeah, I see it.
And then we're talking about the stuff that's inside the red box. What's the most important thing to have there? And I mean, yeah, the stick map is helpful to kind of remind yourself, especially where things go, but with the transit app, and the whole county map, but you provided good feedback. It's kind of like helpful to kind of drill down to more detail about where the route goes, so. Yeah.
Teresa?
Yes, I just was gonna say the stick map, I like because you can exactly see sometimes where you can meet up with other buses too, and where the different stops are. And I think that it's very helpful. So it does give you a visual, like if your phone's going dead or whatever. I like the stick.
Maxwell, what you got?
There we go. Yes. I've had a little trouble using the transit app, or rather, I find myself having to use Google Maps and the transit app, because I can't just tell the transit app where I'm going and have it know that location. A lot of the time, it has no idea what I'm asking.
I do that too, sometimes.
Yeah, having that confirmation of truth. So are you saying that like in that case, it might be useful to also tell people that Google Maps is an option, or I don't know, what are your thoughts there?
That would be nice. I was mostly just griping about the minor inadequacy in the transit app, not having best functionality in that specific regard.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely pass that feedback along to the transit app team as well, just like, hey, as you're making updates, this is something to look at. Wonderful. Does anyone else have any other thoughts or opinions on that info board in the shelters? Jay?
You may have said it, but when are we planning on launching these changes?
So the new info boards will launch alongside the route changes on the Connected Community Bus Network.
Then in that case, we definitely need to stick maps.
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna know where the bus is going at that moment.
good point.
For sure. And there'll be new system maps at that time as well, so that will be there too. So, okay, Gloria, what you got?
To that point, when we go through the changes, there's like, one of my go-to routes is going away, and all the people that would have been using that route, are we going to have appropriate signage so that if somebody's used to catching the 67 at this or that intersection, and now all of a sudden it's no longer a stop, are we still gonna have the info signs there?
Yes, so we are going to put, at any stops that are changing or going away, there will be passenger notices on the pole, to let folks know, effective this date, the stop will be eliminated, scan here, or visit our website for your new route, kind of thing. So, and those will be, I'm gonna put them out a minimum of 60 days before the changes go into effect, ideally longer.
Thank you.
So. Anything else? Well, wonderful. Thank you all so much. I took like 3 pages of notes, and I'm going to continue to refine these concepts, and I'm sure you'll be seeing more of me.
Well, thank you very much, Amanda.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, then now we'll move to the last item, which is just other business. Is there any other business that anyone would like to discuss? Raise your hands if you have anything you want to make sure for future meeting topics or so on. Brad?
Yes, thank you, Chair Gloria. I just wanted to thank you and the rest of the track committee for your input to these things. It's very important. And I want to especially thank you, Gloria, for your comments. I think it was at our last meeting that was in person. You have really inspired and challenged us and me to about making sure that the services up in northern Pinellas County for Safety Harbor, the on-demand services that and then we want to launch other ones with this Connected Community Bus Network. And I heard what you said, and we are working to improve that, to make, the fact that right now the transit app, if you want to go to Safety Harbor, it tells you to walk from US 19 all the way to Safety Harbor. It's a problem. It is a problem, and we're gonna fix that. Somehow we're gonna fix it. I'm determined. And I just wanna thank you for, bringing it to attention. You should be able to type into Transit app or Google or whatever, where you need to go, and then, especially when we have a service that goes there, it should come up. And especially to the chair of the Riders Committee, who is very knowledgeable about how to use PSTA. All of you that I see on the screen are all very knowledgeable, and then if you can't use it and I can't figure it out, then it's a problem. So thank you.
Yeah, good, thank you. Okay, good. Any other comments? Oh, Jay, do you have your hand up?
So I had this thoughts about the transit app in the last discussion, but I don't want to say it there because it wasn't directly relevant. Is there a way to talk to them about if they want to recommend a connection, if it's less than a certain amount of time that they say, this may or may not be a good connection, just maybe default to something else. Because it loves when I'm going to trying to give the 3-minute connection between two buses that don't normally meet, which is lovely. So to give you an example, if I sometimes I ride the 75, and if I am going maybe downtown, it will say, oh, take the 75 and get off at the Pinellas Trail at 22nd in front of the Mall, and then walk across the street and catch the 20 that's going to be there 2 minutes after you get off the bus. And as we all know, traffic is a thing, and buses are a thing, and timing is not always a thing related to either of them. So trying to rush across the street in 10 seconds to catch a bus that doesn't know it's supposed to wait for me is not fun. So like some way to say, very short transfer or something like that, so to catch your attention, like maybe this is the best option. Or another issue I've had is two routes meet each other at a transit. What do you call it? Routes meet each other.
Transfer connection.
Thank you. At a transfer connection, and there's another window that it should just tell you, okay, go to the transfer station, and wait 10 minutes and use the next bus or something. It'll say, well, get up here, try to cross 8 lanes of US 19, then 6 lanes of Park Boulevard, whatever boulevard it's on, and use this bus stop, and wait 20 minutes there for your bus. Just meeting at a very safe transfer center. It'd be really nice if we could let them know that maybe do that instead of. Yeah. Because clearly I've had some issues because, and it's not just transit app, Google does it too. It's annoying, but we're official with transit, so it's like, it'd be nice if at least it gives you options that one are safe, and two, are very feasible, especially when the routes meet each other at a designated transit center.
That's a really good idea. I think we could definitely talk to the transit app about, knowing where intersections are not safe and where it might be, you can just take the bus a little further and then go to a much more safe place to connect or whatever. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Well, in fact, is there any chance, based on what she was just saying, for us to provide some of the feedback to the transit app? Because I think as regular users, we do see those situations and we know the choices that we make. And I don't know, maybe it's us sending a note to Bob Lasher, that just says, I experienced this today. Can you please run this by the transit app people to have someone double check if they can't modify it at least? I don't know.
I would be happy to do that. And I raise my hand just to remind everybody, if something like this happens, send it to me. I will try to farm it out to whatever department it might pertain to. Like if there are no stop numbers on a bus stop, send me those. I'll send it to maintenance. If you have issues with drivers, try to do that as quickly as possible after it happens, because then we can pull the tape on the bus. But just, don't forget to go through me and let me send this stuff out to the proper departments.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other commentary? Well, then I think we will be adjourning our meeting, and our next meeting will be on May 13th, and it will again be on Zoom. And so thank you everyone for participating. Again, good commentary and also I look forward, just a personal commentary, Bob's gonna be sending out the information on the ride along for the board. I look forward to us, if you have questions on that, please check with Bob, because I see that as being a huge opportunity, that initiative, as a chance for us to get to know our board and for our board to get to know us. That's it for me today. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Yeah, I'm good then.
Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, see everybody.
Finish recording. There we go.